Mic check. Mic check. 1, 2. Mic check. Mic. Trigger to check. Check it out. Mic check. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of the Meadows and Makers podcast. I'm here streaming out on MSP Waves and all of the other places you can find me on YouTube and Odyssey. My name is Greg Dowd. I am your host of the Meadows and Makers podcast, where I try to bring you guys a little bit of information from some projects and things that I'm working on, and try to bring on interesting guests and talk about some of the things that are happening around the world and see how we can navigate that and become more empowered people, live in an abundance mindset instead of a scarcity mindset. So tonight I am a little rushed getting back to start the stream and everything from work today. It was kind of an interesting day at work. Um, I'm going to talk about that for a little bit because it's been a little weird, I guess. It's definitely a weird day today. So today is Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Um, but so so yeah, somebody brought in like some breakfast to work. It was like sounded like it was going to be an awesome day. That's how the day started. It was really nice, and the day ended with people possibly coming to threaten violence um, at the workplace. So so yeah, we lost one of our employees today at work, and it got a little weird there, I guess. And well, I'm sorry to see that person go because I really enjoyed talking to them whenever I was at work, and so it's really kind of sucks um, that she won't be working there anymore. But anyway, that happened today, so it was a little weird. And one of my other coworkers, he had an accident yesterday, and so he was out of work today. So it was me holding down the fort in the shop for the most part. Um, so anyway, I typically will sit down and I'll write an outline of some kind for the show, and I was not able to do that tonight. Um, but I do have kind of a list of kind of an outline that I can work through from that we've kind of done on past episodes here, and introduce a few different topics and get into some of that. So, uh, so that's what we'll be doing. Interesting stuff with the chickens. They're getting big enough to actually jump out of their little brooder. So they're. My dad told me earlier that the a couple of the chickens had jumped out of the brooder and were running around in the basement there, and uh, and so that's a lot of fun. Um, so that all that stuff's going on right now with the little chickens, and uh, so they're jumping around everywhere now. They're getting big, probably big enough to where we'll get them moved outside to their chickshaw. So if you guys didn't follow that project, I'll see if I can maybe pull up some photos of that. for you guys. But yeah, that whole Chickshaw project I was working on. I think the week I had off of work, right between Christmas and New Year, I finished in the New Year finished that project. Um, so I'll try to share some photos of that with you guys. Before I do all that, I just want to tweet out these links where you can go watch the live stream and make sure that I do my due diligence there. So I get the live stream out to folks. So let me handle that. I titled tonight "The Fake Alien Invasion" because of all the sighting, or I guess supposed sightings of unidentified aerial stuff. Looks, there was one that was supposedly over Alaska. Then there's some that are flying over Canada, I guess, and one that they took down over the Great Lakes recently. So supposedly a lot of sightings of probably balloons. I haven't looked far enough into it, but you know, I have read some stuff in the past that would there was this one book called The Cosmic Conspiracy that this guy Stan Deyo wrote, and he was describing a lot of the stuff that the elite talk about in some of their plans, and then the the end of the book of in the Cosmic Conspiracy, he was talking about how basically there would be a fake alien invasion that is created by our own government to get everybody to agree to becoming like a one world empire kind of thing. So I remember reading that a long time ago, and it's like the meme. I think there's a meme where it's like, well, we can't fool them with the COVID anymore, so let's move on to let's move on to Russia-Ukraine war, and then it's like, well, the war isn't. We can't get anybody to get interested in this war, so let's just do a fake alien invasion as the last option. so so I think uh, are we seeing that time? I don't know, but it is kind of interesting that you're hearing all these stories in the mainstream about all these unidentified objects coming in all at the same time. So uh, makes you wonder what's in store. So I always would be stoked about the alien invasion because I just said Normock, you're on the side, man. I've always been like, dude, I just want to see some cool technologies and stuff, and see the crafts and all that stuff. So like we could ask some questions and look at their crafts, and anyway, that would be interesting. Yeah, yeah, it won't be boring. Yeah. So so yeah, that is some of the stuff that's going on. If you guys know Solo Miner, in the community here. Solo Miner, we've been, me and one of my local buddies that helped me get my solar stuff figured out. He's been on the podcast before. His name's Eric Truitt. And he has been doing some consulting with Solo Miner there. on putting together his own solar power system. So um, we plan on going up there probably around the April timeframe to where his new place is. He just moved, and we're gonna help him install this. Um, he's not gonna be fully operational off of the solar power, but it will be a pretty substantial backup system for his place. So um, my buddy helped him spec out all the batteries and the panels. Basically, just give him a list of stuff that he needs to buy for his system. And did the consultation there with him. Like I think he's got the ground mounting hardware now. I think he's waiting on panels. He's got his batteries. He's got his inverter and charge controller. And there's a few more components. I think he's got all his wiring that he needs and everything. But he's gonna have a few more components that he's gonna have to grab. Holy crap! There's some there's stuff going on Theta TV. So what's up, Theta TV? Grim Gaming and Leppy 336 and Burnsy. So I can see your chat, but I can't tell what those emojis are. But yeah, what's up, guys? Hanging out there on Theta. Crimson Cloud and Normok, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. So yeah, I do this show weekly, and I try to talk about, some projects and stuff that I got going on. Talk about some of the things that are going on currently, as far as our they, them, those, that the powers that should not be, probably the direction they want to take us. But I try to give an alternative for people that want to do something different with their life, and not be sucked into the system that we have going right now. And I really think that we're on the last legs of this system, that it really is destined for destruction. When you hear about work, like, there's lots of work that I'm hearing about, but not being able to find people that want to come out and do the work. And especially, I think, with like contractors I'm hearing it from, like the place where I work has a hard time, finding people that'll come in and do the work that we do. So and that's just like kind of a few stories. But like, the people that have the property that's next to mine, where I started to develop some land, they lost their job, and then they're like not looking for another job. They're just hoping they can get on some disability or something. And it seems to be the case that why go work some shit job, I guess. If I can get on unemployment, or I can get on disability or whatever, and just not work, and maybe start an OnlyFans or something like that. So when you think about that, and you think about like how much of a lack of production there is in our economy, in the U.S., like, we don't really make or have the industry to make a lot of stuff anymore. And you just kind of see that, you kind of seeing this trend going of people having a certain mentality towards getting some shit done. And you start to see how all those pieces of the puzzle come together, and it looks like it's going in a not so great place. So That and a lot of the different stories about we've got like chicken uh, places burning down. Um, Let me see if I can pull up a couple articles about some of that. Um, and you know, just generally seems to be a little bit of a war on food happening. The issue with all the eggs and feed for chickens, chickens having a hard time laying eggs, has become a pretty big deal. Um, this just happened yesterday. I caught wind of this story, and it seems to be that not a whole lot of people are talking about it, but this came across. I came across this story, I think yesterday, listening to one of the podcasts I listened to. I think it was with Nerderotics channel, and let me see if I can transition this so that you guys can see what I'm looking at. Alrighty then. I'm pulling this one from freedomphoenix.com, but they're uh, they're like an aggregator, so they like pull stuff from all over the web and kind of aggregate it on their site. So right here is this story um, about this train that derailed recently, and over in Ohio. The mainstream media spends an enormous amount of time lecturing us about fake environmental issues, but now that one of the greatest environmental catastrophes in U.S. history has occurred, they're being strangely quiet about it. What we're witnessing in East Palestine, Ohio, is so horrifying that it's truly difficult to put into words. One hazardous materials specialist is claiming that authorities basically nuked a town with chemicals so we could get a railroad open. Unfortunately, that is not an exaggeration at all. When they decided to conduct a controlled burn of vinyl chloride from some of the wrecked rail cars. What the what the fuck? They decided to do a controlled burn of vinyl chloride from some of the wrecked rail cars. They knew that it would send phosgene and hydrogen chloride into the air. Whoa. Um, about 50 cars, including 10 carrying hazardous materials, derailed in a fiery crash in East Palestine about 9 p.m. on Friday, February the 3rd. Houses were evacuated after vinyl chloride was slowly released from 5 of those cars. Authorities then ignited the gases for a controlled release of the highly flammable toxic chemicals in a controlled environment, creating a dark plume of smoke. Officials warned the controlled burn would send phosgene and hydrogen chloride into the air. Phosgene is highly toxic, colorless gas with a strong odor that can cause vomiting and breathing trouble, and was used as a weapon in World War One. And they're saying, read that last sentence again. So, these gases are highly toxic. Phosgene was literally used as a chemical weapon during World War One, and now countless people living in Ohio and Pennsylvania will be breathing it in for the foreseeable future. So, this isn't getting a whole lot of coverage, but this just happened. Things to do in Ohio. Leave. This is around a place called Palestine, Ohio. Now, man, just think. I mean, think about that. I mean, all those people that live around there. What do you got to get the fuck out of there. I mean, you're gonna get, you know, you're gonna be killed if you stay and keep breathing in all that crap. That doesn't look healthy at all. Oh shit. That is a giant cloud of fucked upness. Wow. Dang. So basically, I mean, the same thing as a nuke going off. I mean, you gotta evacuate. You gotta get out of there. So, let's see. In essence, we have unleashed a weapon of mass destruction on our own people. What I mean, that seems really fishy as fuck, and you know, we know that this is gonna poison everyone, but damn it, we're gonna do it anyway. Fuck it, fuck it. It's a field goal. Oh my god. Vinyl chloride is associated with increased risk of liver cancer and other cancers, according to the federal government's National Cancer Institute. The effect was studied in PVC pipe makers who breathed in vinyl chloride and developed rare liver cancers, says Ruth Lund. He studies carcinogens at the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences. So how many people are ultimately going to get cancer and die because of this disaster? On top of everything else, we are now being told that ethyl glycol monobutyl ether, ethyl ethyl acrylate, and isobutylene were also being transported in some of the rail cars that derailed. Goes on to say the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency sent a letter to Norfolk Southern stating that ethylene glycol monobutyl ether, ethyl hexyl acrylate, and isobutylene were also in the rail cars that were derailed, breached, and or on fire. Caggiano says ethyl acrylate is especially worrisome. He says it's a carcinogen, and contact with it can cause burning and irritation in the skin and eyes. Breathing it can irritate the nose and throat and cause coughing and shortness of breath. Nobody should be anywhere near this wreck, but authorities are telling residents of East Palestine that it's perfectly safe to return to their homes and that there is absolutely nothing to be concerned about. What? No, get out of there, guys. Like, get the fuck out of Palestine, Ohio right now and stay out of there for a while, because that's going to take a while to, like, fully disperse, and it's going to really mess up some crap. So this is good because so this is looks like a tweet from Marjorie Taylor Greene. East Palestine, Ohio is undergoing an ecological disaster because authorities blew up the train derailment cars carrying hazardous chemicals, and press are being arrested for trying to tell the story. But but UFOs, what's going on? So it looks like there is a little video here that we can check out.
Massive train derailed Friday, 20 of them carrying hazardous materials as flames lit up the sky in northeastern Ohio.
The evacuation order is in place for anyone within a mile radius of the crash site.
These aren't storm clouds. This is the fucking shit! The fucking shit that burned off in East Palestine! This is not fucking storm clouds! Look at it!
This is horrible! I got arrested because I was trying to do a live report about what people need to know.
Officials are claiming that the air and water are safe. Residents say they can still smell chlorine. They've complained about their eyes watering when they go outside, and one woman says the noxious air killed her chickens.
Out of nowhere, he just started coughing really hard and just shut down and went very fast.
Look at all these fucking crows. I'm not kidding. This is within 10 miles of East Palestine.
If you have not evacuated, please leave the area.
Wow. So, um, that's definitely not good. What's up, Leonis? Good to see you in the chat. Yeah, not a lot of people are talking about this, but yeah, this just happened the other day, and so Normock put up a picture here. Amish population in the United States looks like right around where that chemical thing went off. There's a lot of Amish folks are in that area. That will fucking that'll wreck the environment, man. Like I mean, just saw in a few of those um things, you got like tons of carcinogenic chemicals being, just hanging out in the atmosphere all at once. Like the people got to get out of there. Like as many people as possible got to get the fuck out of there. And you know, they did it. They just freaking blew the thing up. They're like, "Oh yeah, we know what the hell is gonna happen. Well, let's just burn it up." Damn, that's like a good old boy thing. It's like, "Hey, buddy, uh, hold my beer. We're blowing this shit up." Yeah, not sure if there's a connection, but yeah, you got a bunch of self-reliant folks that are out there with the Amish that are outside of the system, and you know, who knows? Who knows? Uh, but yeah, that would definitely screw up your plans on growing food or harvesting rainwater or you know any of that kind of stuff in that area because you're gonna have to you'll have to highly filter everything, and you probably would want to walk around with a pretty hefty filter if you're going to be breathing in that air. So, I mean, I wouldn't breathe it just straight up. So, if you're going to continue to live in that area, I mean, it would be like, if there was a nuclear fallout that happened, I mean, that would be a lot worse. But, uh, getting chemicals sprayed all over you that are carcinogenic, and that's going to have ramifications for a long time too, um, people picking up all those toxins all at once, that's going to be hard for their systems to take care of all that. And, a lot of the chemicals, especially the book that I'm reading, is that a lot of toxins and chemicals are persistent, and so they can stay in your body for a long time, and they can accumulate in the body and cause all kinds of issues. So, if you're not like doing a regular detox regimen that can help remove some of these toxins that they can keep accumulating. And that's possibly one reason why we get ill is that our bodies in an act of self-preservation are implementing like a fever and all the symptoms you would get of being ill in order to like turn on the sweat glands, try to remove some toxins from the body so that other parts of the immune system can function properly. Maybe uh, a big relation there, and as so far as an overload of toxicity in the body can trigger you to become very sick. So let's go on with this article here. So perhaps they think that because most of the people that live in East Palestine are poor, they can get away with treating them like dirt. And that may have worked in the past, but now we live in an age of social media, and a lot of Americans want to make sure that this catastrophe will never be forgotten. Because the truth is that these chemicals are going to be affecting the health of local residents for decades. One hazardous materials specialist raised a lot of eyebrows when he said that authorities basically nuked a town with chemicals so we could get a railroad open. That is so ridiculous. See, Caggiano, a hazardous materials specialist and former fire department chief, said he was surprised residents were allowed to return home so quickly before all of their homes were tested. I would have far rather they did all the testing first, he said. There's a lot of what ifs, and we're going to be looking at this thing 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line and wondering, gee, cancer clusters could pop up, you know. Well water could go bad. Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, if you're out there, if you're living out there, you're going to want to filter like all your water with a pretty, with a pretty good filter. Uh, and like like one of the gravity filters, and might not be a bad idea to pick yourself up like a total dissolved solids meter, um, and then test your local tap water, and it's probably going to show some stuff that's off the charts, and don't drink that water. Filter it, distill that water, and gets all those contaminants out of there. Let's see. A couple guys were saying that by burning this from Normoc vinyl chloride, it turns into hydraulic acid. I'm no chemist though, so it'll be acid rain. Yeah. I was hearing similar things about that as well, and I'm not a chemist, so let's see. New toxins identified. We basically nuked the town with chemicals so we could get a railroad open, said Sil Caggiano, hazardous materials specialist. Rail company Norfolk Southern is paying just $25,000 to the town, or $5 per resident. Dude, you fuck these people over.
We now know 3 more chemicals that were on board the Norfolk Southern train that derailed here in East Palestine just over a week ago. And we're being told that some of those chemicals are dangerous.
We basically nuked a town with chemicals so we could get a railroad open.
The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency sent a letter to Norfolk Southern stating that ethylene glycol monobutyl ether, ethylexyl-acrylate, and isobutylene were also in the rail cars that were derailed, breached, or on fire. Caggiano says ethylexyl-acrylate is especially worrisome. He says it's a carcinogen, and contact with it can cause burning and irritation in the skin and eyes. Breathing it in can irritate the nose, throat, and cause coughing and shortness of breath. Isobutylene is also known to cause dizziness and drowsiness when inhaled.
I was kind of surprised that when they quickly told the people they can go back home, but then said if they feel like they want their homes tested, they can have them tested. I would have far rather they did all the testing.
Caggiano says it's possible some of these chemicals could still be present in homes and on objects until you clean them thoroughly.
There's a lot of what ifs, and we're going to be looking at this thing 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line and wondering, gee, cancer clusters could pop up, well water could go bad.
Caggiano recommends anyone who's in the East Palestine area get a health checkup. He says get a record of where your health stands now so that moving forward you have documentation of any possibly related effects to the train derailment.
Yeah, there's going to be health effects. So many people are going to die because of this, and it is being reported that large numbers of chickens and fish have already died after being exposed to the chemicals. Yeah. Wow, so this is like a, real survival scenario out there. I mean, you talk about, destroying the environment. I mean, that, my God. CBS Pittsburgh reported that hundreds of fish have turned up dead in Leslie Run, approximately 5 miles away from the site of the derailment. While the EPA has acknowledged that fish are dying, it stressed that well water remains safe to drink. Yeah, bullshit. Amanda Brashears, who lives 10 miles away from East Palestine, said upon going to feed her hens and rooster days after the derailment, she found them all lifeless. My video camera footage shows my chickens were perfectly fine before they started this burn. As soon as they started the burn, my chickens slowed down and they died, she told WKBN. If it can do this to chickens in one night, imagine what it's going to do to us in 20 years. Amanda Brashears found... okay, so this is another on-the-ground report.
And even though North Lima is about 10 miles away from East Palestine, Amanda Brashears says when she went to let her dog out last night at about 10 o'clock, the smell made her eyes water. And she also believes it could be why her chickens are now dead.
So I walked up to the cage, and this is what I found.
Amanda Brashears was going to feed her 5 hens and rooster this morning when she discovered them all lifeless, practically in the same position, with no signs of a predator entering their enclosure.
I'm beyond upset and quite panicked because they may be just chickens, but they're family.
Brashears says her chickens were alive and well yesterday. She believes the smell following the detonation of the train carrying chemicals that derailed in East Palestine is to blame for her birds' sudden death.
My video camera footage shows my chickens were perfectly fine before they started this burn. And as soon as they started the burn, my chickens slowed down and they died. If it can do this to chickens in one night, imagine what it's going to do to us in 20 years.
Officials have said that the smell wasn't toxic or dangerous, but
officials say there's nothing to worry about. Breathe all the air in. It's great. Oh, wow. Shit. That's why you don't trust the officials. Here is the report
At
of
the
fish.
area, well and groundwater are safe. However, after this couple saw dead fish in this creek that you're looking at, they're deciding to not take any chances.
There was hundreds.
Russell Murphy is referring to the fish now belly up in Leslie Run. He and his wife noticed them last night, barely 48 hours after the fiery derailment 5 miles away.
This is huge, huge environmental effects.
That's now one of many concerns the EPA now faces.
The impact of the fish, yes, there was a impact to those. However, the levels as we have seen it are protective to groundwater. We are aware there are some wells along that for residential wells.
Environmental cleanup crews were at and actually in that water today. So are these booms, which are used to catch and stop anything that shouldn't be flowing here, or into water wells, which Murphy uses for just about everything.
What a nightmare, and this nightmare is not going to end anytime soon. Shockingly, a movie about this exact type disaster in this exact area of Ohio was released late last year. That's interesting. From Aaron Elizabeth Health News, Unhealthy Truth on Twitter. Wow, here's a movie just made about a train derailing with toxins in Ohio, filmed in Ohio, where it just happened. And many of the extras were locals from East Palestine, Ohio, who in the film evacuated. Then months later, they had to do so in real life. Bonkers.
Would you like that, a protein?
That stuff causes cancer in laboratory animals, in case you didn't know.
Either I chew gum or I smoke.
What are these children, yours?
That's mine from wives 1 and 3. There's Babette's from husband 2. Wilder is ours. We're each other's 4th.
Life is good, Jack. I hope it lasts forever.
Okay. So, looks like they made a movie about this exact thing happening. Oh, it's just a coincidence. That's a coincidence. There's we're looking at a lot of coincidences here. Pretty crazy, eh? Sometimes it feels like we are actually living in a movie. As I keep telling people, we are now living in a time when we will be facing one major disaster after another. Global events are starting to spin out of control, and there's so much chaos all around us. Unfortunately, we have been through what we have been through so far is just the tip of the iceberg, and it's like somebody's book. Michael, brand new book, End Times, is the guy that wrote this article. And let me post this into the chat for you guys. So, bam. Oh yeah. Let me catch up with what you guys are saying in the chat here. I'm really surprised. Oh yeah. So Gabriel, you're saying. Yeah, interesting and devastating. It appears from the preponderance of evidence that USA is under attack. Other power, yeah, I've heard of there's different power stations that people were going after. Um, the balloon story. There's lots of balloons. This gas thing that happened. I'm hearing of uh, like a egg or like a chicken processing plant, I believe, just burned up recently too. If anybody can find that article, might be interesting to cover that as well. But yeah, I'm really. Normok says I'm really surprised they didn't blame this on Russia or China. It seems to be the main focus now is to blame it all on Russia and China, and try to stoke a war and keep pushing the war machine on everyone. Let's see. They weren't mentioning it at all. Watched it 2 nights ago. Um, I get. I guess. Have you watched the movie that they were talking about, where this exact thing happens? Full of Kabbalist themes like love and death. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to give that a peek. The movie White Noise. Okay. Let's see. White Noise movie. Let's see. Is that what the one? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I'll have to check it out later. But that's pretty wild. Everybody that's over in that area of the world um, would be very advantageous. I would say, get the fuck out of there for a while. I mean, that might be hard for some people to do. But yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'll have to read about it. But yeah, I would not be there for a while. And even if the sky looks nice, that one of those gases is like odorless and colorless, so you're not gonna see it. And then how long does it take for all of those chemicals to disperse, to disperse throughout the environment, I guess. You got to wait for a rainstorm and to pull some of that stuff out of the air. How long is this going to be affecting that local environment? It's going to be a long-lasting effects, like not just like in that immediate area, but that's going to go like all over the place. But you know what might be a really good thing to help clean some of this or help out with this situation is biochar that we talked about last week is supposedly supposed to be able to like absorb a lot of those toxins and help remediate water streams. So anybody out there in Ohio, maybe look into the creation of biochar and see what you can do to maybe put it in some of the waterways that are around there. And I'm wondering if there are some folks in the homesteading community that would get together and create enough biochar to like bring out there and just do our own shit on cleaning stuff up, because that's going to be a big deal. And that is like, knowing that was going to happen and they did it anyway. I mean, come on. So how about this, guys? Here's the article kind of along the lines of what I was talking about with Stan Deo's book, The Cosmic Conspiracy. And all these, the story of all these UFOs coming out recently, or sightings, or all this action going on. So let me see if I can pull this up for you guys. Looks like it's just taking forever. And am I even in the right browser? I am. But it's not wanting to pull this up. Can I open a new... Alright, just had to chill for a second. Oh, okay, this looks like it came from Mark Dice. This is a report from Mark Dice. So we'll check this out.
Over the weekend, the U.S. military shot down several supposed UFOs. So everyone is wondering what the heck is going on, if China is getting ready to invade or attack, or if it's aliens. And, if it was an alien attack, probably would be the only thing that would stop liberals from destroying society, and it sure would be a lot more exciting. But I have a feeling that there's something else going on here, and so do a lot of other people. Project Bluebeam was trending on Twitter last night. If you're not familiar with that, you're definitely going to want to stay tuned. Here's National Security Director John Kirby starting the scare.
So I can confirm that the Department of Defense was tracking a high-altitude object over Alaska airspace in the last 24 hours. The object was flying at an altitude of 40,000 feet and posed a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flight.
Wow. We better check in with CNN to find out the real story.
It's interesting. This is kind of unusual that these pilots saw different things, and that is sort of, I guess, adding to the mystery of all this.
Yeah, not even the pilots apparently were really able to identify what they saw. And just to take you back for a sec, on Thursday, the U.S. defense officials sent F-35 fighter jets up to try to figure out what this object was that was flying around near Alaska. Those pilots, we have learned, have given very conflicting accounts of what they actually experienced, with some pilots...
What you have learned, you mean what the Operation Mockingbird assets have told you. And then, like a mockingbird, which is why the program is named that, you are repeating exactly what you have been told.
saying that the object interfered with the plane's sensors, other pilots saying that they didn't really experience that, other pilots saying that when they looked at the object they could identify no identifiable propulsion system and they did not know how it was actually staying in the air.
It's filled with helium. It's a gigantic helium balloon, so it doesn't have a propulsion system, of course. Now, if you're not familiar with Project Bluebeam, oh, you're going to love this. Here is New York Times economist Paul Krugman openly discussing essentially what the elitists planned or discussed as a way to, well, let's just say distract the general public and justify massive government expansion and spending.
If we discovered that space aliens were planning to attack, and we needed a massive buildup to counter the space alien threat, and really inflation and budget deficits took secondary place to that, this slump would be over in 18 months. And then if we discovered, whoops, we made a mistake, there aren't actually any space aliens.
So we need Orson Welles, is what you're saying.
No, there was a Twilight Zone episode like this in which scientists fake an alien threat in order to achieve world peace. Well, this time we don't need it. We need it in order to get some fiscal stimulus.
Or to justify more hyperinflation and distract from the utter failure of an administration that old Joe is in charge of. And by the way, Paul Krugman didn't just come up with this idea off the top of his head. He put a lot of thought into it.
I actually have a serious proposal, which is that we have to get a bunch of scientists to tell us that we're facing a threatened alien invasion. And in order to be prepared for that alien invasion, we have to do things like build high-speed rail and
pass the Green New Deal, right? No, this is not his original idea. In the 1960s, a book was published called The Report from Iron Mountain, claiming to be a secretly leaked document from an elite think tank that outlined how world peace would be bad for the economy. And if the military-industrial complex slowed down too much, if the world got too peaceful, that they would have to jumpstart it again through false flags, and they also proposed faking an alien threat. Later, the author claimed that it was just satire and it was meant to raise awareness about the military-industrial complex and their lust for war and the money that it makes, but others believe that him claiming that it was just satire was just a cover-up because they believe that it was real. Here is Ronald Reagan, President Reagan at the United Nations, basically saying the same thing.
Antagonisms of the moment. We often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
No, those are just weather balloons, sir. And back in the late 90s, the Washington Post published this article where they admitted that during the first Gulf War over in Iraq, the CIA planned or discussed a plan where they would project an image of God into the sky and then using I think elf waves or some sort of radio frequency hearing effect, which I've discussed previously in an in-depth report, that they would make the Iraqi people think that God was actually talking to them. And they wanted to use this to encourage them to overthrow Saddam Hussein, okay? And that was, 30-something years ago? And so a lot of people, that's what they're talking about. There's videos like this going viral on Twitter from people, trying to either fool people that this is Project Bluebeam, they're already doing it, or showing kind of what that would actually entail. And me always being at least a decade ahead of the brand name Conservative Inc. commentators about certain issues that they're always afraid to talk about. Here's a video that I posted on YouTube a decade ago, back in 2013, on Project Bluebeam.
Did you know that the government has a plan to stage or fake an alien invasion or even the return of Jesus or the appearance of God here on planet Earth? Not only do they have the plan, but they've actually considered putting it into use on several occasions. The Washington Post actually published.
Okay, so you get the point. You can go and find that video if you want to watch it. But if they're going to pull this off, the White House is going to have to hire a new press secretary because Karine Jean-Pierre just isn't going to be able to sell this to the American people.
Why is the American military shooting something out of the sky over Canada?
Because it's part of NORAD. The NORAD is part of it's a what you call a coalition, a consortium,
pact of nations.
A pact,
okay.
Exactly. And so that's why we were able to do that. Again, we didn't do it on our own. We did it clearly in step with Canada.
We did it in step with Canada. Subscribe to my channel if you're new here because you won't find content like this where we mock liberal lunatics, debunk fake news, confirm conspiracy.
We did it in step with Canada, man. Hell yeah. Oh my goodness. So isn't she so well spoken? I mean, she's really amazing. Just the way her use with words, it's incredible. So, all right. So that's kind of the clown show that we're all hanging out in right now. But all about fake alien invasions. So keep on the lookout for that, and keep your mind about you. Keep asking questions, because that's could happen. It's not beyond the realm of possibilities here. I hope they make those holograms look really cool, is all I got to say. And, probably hear some voices in your head. You probably think they're God. If they're telling you to go do some violence or something like that, that's not God. So, yeah. So, look forward to that. But yeah, I was talking about reading that in a book a while ago. What's up, Jack? What's up, Jack Dub? Gabriel, I'll pray for that. I'm serious. They and those need death. Otherwise, they'll fucking unalive you and continue doing that, and your loved ones. Yeah. Club 880D is saying it's staged. My friend's family is off the coast of Huron here in Michigan, and for the first time ever in decades, noticed that freighters were close to shore parked out of shipping lanes. This is days before the shutdown, or the shoot down. I think it was to set the stage. I don't know. Be right back. Just wanted to chime in. Yeah. Gabriel staged to capture the zombie nation's impotent attention. And Jack Dubs, because Canada doesn't have an air force. Norma, wow, she sure is well spoken, yeah. Jack is saying, I can't wait to see the copycat balloons. And Normock, if they don't have some sort of human-animal chimera going on, I'm going to be disappointed. Normock, I'm getting balloons, filling them with helium, and tying fortune cookies to them. Okay, Club 80D is back. See, Gabriel, I sound like such a sourpuss when you read out my comments. Kind of tired of it, though. Good morning. Is it the morning for you, Gabriel? I guess you're on the other side of the old ocean over there. It's wild. It's the morning. We are going to bed for the day here, or about to be. Let's see. My buddy just told me that the other day, immediately after I told him about the incident. So, your buddy was telling you about all that was going down in Michigan? Cool, man. Well, that's awesome. You get to wake up in the morning, listen to a podcast, and get your day going. That's sweet. Uh, so this is all the craziness that has been going on. So, yeah, I did read that book, that Sandeo book, The Cosmic Conspiracy, a long time ago. I don't know if I have ever brought it up on the show before, but now that we seem to have all of this interesting stuff going on, that it might be a good time to check some of that stuff out if you want. Um, Cosmic Conspiracy, except I need to search for it on Library Genesis because I'm gonna see if I can grab that book for you guys and paste the link to where you can download it. Cosmic Conspiracy. It was actually one of these books that kind of sent me down a bunch of other rabbit holes as far as like technology suppression and stuff like that. So I found where you can find it on LibGen. So if you want to go check out that book, you can download it on LibGen for free and give it a read. But yeah, it was really interesting on that. So I didn't know that we'd be in the time where they were going to try to pull that off. I thought it would be like further on in the future, like maybe 2050 or something like that. But, if they tried to pull that now, do you guys think that would work? Like right now in our current world, do you think that people would fall for some kind of alien invasion, and now you have to sign up for your digital dollar because that's how everyone's going to get paid so that we can move into this, like, we're going to have to fight aliens all the time kind of world digital system? That's what I'm saying. Maybe a lot of people, if aren't gonna be persuaded on this, like, are gonna be real skeptical. We're gonna be like, no way, man. We've been seeing this coming for a long time. We'll see, Gabriel. They expect it consciously or not. Club ADD, right? Believe it or not, yes, it could. People are not as bright as we would think or hope. LOL. Yeah, seeing everybody that fell for the COVID whole pandemic scenario and just went along with whatever was being told to them and on mainstream media and just going right along with it, and nobody really questioning it at all. Like, they had everybody in so much fear, and it's the fear that they get people into that is the weakness, is that, once they can get people into a state of fear, you can be directed however, you can be directed in different ways, if you're really afraid. And your logical thinking can kind of shut off, and you're kind of thinking more emotionally. And so yeah, I can see that people could fall for it. But yeah, that's why you gotta warn people about this shit, because people gotta be aware and of these things that are trying to happen in the background, so that you don't have to go down that path and go down a different path. get outside of the system as much as you can. Grow as much food as you can, and look into getting your own energy going. The probably the oh man, probably the best system that's you can make out there is just get yourself some solar panels and like a Victron charge controller and some batteries, some lithium iron phosphate batteries if you can get your hands on them, and at least have a backup power system. Like Jack Dove actually had a really good one, like a Blue Eddy, like lithium ion battery bank that you can buy off the shelf now, and you can hook up some panels to them. So it's like kind of a no brainer. You can put together your own custom system, but like if you don't want to get into like getting into how the system works and how to do all the wiring and doing all that, like there are options out there for folks that don't want to get into all that, and at least you'll have a backup. But I would say have a solar power system of some kind, and then also have a generator. You can wire that generator in to help charge up your batteries and all that kind of stuff. And you're going to have a lot of days where it's going to be cloudy and you're not going to be generating as much power as you would think. And so you'll need something to supplement that for those days. So, but that's like super available for everybody right now, and the portable little systems like the Blue Eddy, you could have that as like your backup. I got to get the fuck out of here, like what happened in Ohio kind of situation, where maybe you're gonna have to go stay in a tent somewhere for a little while, and you're gonna want to have some backup power. So, where did we get Club ADD? Reagan was talking about the alien invasion 40 years ago. Yep. See, Gabriel, I still don't believe Joe Biden is your president. Well, is he? Is his? I don't think Joe Biden has a soul, and his body is probably occupied by some kind of demons, man, like keeping him alive, his corpse alive or something. Because he's not all there, man. He's like, it seems like he's stumbling over a bunch of words and stuff. And what was the thing during the State of the Union? He was trying to say prescription drugs or something like that, but he couldn't say prescription drugs or something. And I can't remember what he was trying to say, but it was like pretty unintelligible. Club ADD, but indeed within the next generation of people. Still could be a few years or a decade from now, right? Convid. One follow for you. Cool. Have a nice day. What's up? All right, man. Digital hashtag. Cool. 2 + 2 = 3.6. 10% for the big guy from Normock. Yep. 10% for the big guy. Old Poopy Pants Biden. So, this is a really great site that I like to catch some news from, freedomsphoenix.com. If you guys have never seen this before, Freedom's Phoenix. I believe I've talked about Ernest Hancock's show. He does Declare Your Independence, and he has his own website. It's Freedom's Phoenix here. He's also been like real big on getting everything backed up to IPFS. And this IPFS system, if you guys aren't familiar with that, you guys are probably the most familiar with IPFS, being on Hive, because there was a time, and there is still a time, I believe, when I was putting up videos on DTube, and there would be an IPFS backup to the DTube video. And I believe that was like the majority of how DTube is backing up the videos is through IPFS. So yeah, uh, getting everything spun up for running your own IPFS node is something that is pretty good idea. Like getting your stuff backed up there and hosting, videos through things like DTube and all that, just so that this stuff can't get taken down. You know, as long as there's enough computers, running nodes, IPFS nodes, they're not going to take our videos down. So, this is a big battle for, the future. And the future is a lot about our data. And that's one thing that I've been looking into recently is Crimson Cloud was talking about this on her Saturday show one day, and I couldn't remember what I wanted to post into the chat, but it was this concept of siren servers. And this guy wrote a book about these things called, I think it was like Who Owns the Future? This guy, Jaron Lanier, Who Owns the Future, from his book, and he was talking about these siren servers. So this is a really great article that I read about this earlier in the week, actually. The most powerful entities in today's world are those that have the most data and the most powerful computers to crunch this data in a meaningful way. They are the gargantuan cloud computer services that are concentrating wealth and influence in our era. Whether they are national intelligence agencies, the famous Silicon Valley companies with nursery school names, the stealthy high finance schemes, and others, they use their gigantic corporate repositories of information about our lives for huge benefit by a super rich few. So says Jason Lanier in his book, Who Owns the Future? So it goes on to say the siren server business model is to suck up as much data as possible and use powerful computers to create massive profits while pushing the risk away from the company back into the system. The model currently works by getting people to freely give up their data for non-monetary compensation or sucking up the data surreptitiously. It's all about getting your data. Like, the more we upload and the more we're tracked, all of our, actions are being tracked and then, uploaded, and, it's all in return for your data, for you giving the data. And, you're not really getting anything back from that. They're taking, but they're not really giving back with that. So, we gotta take the actions to get ourselves, less dependent on all of the current platforms that can censor at any point. So, Club ADD, isn't Theta Edge node storage a form of IPFS verified on blockchain? I don't know enough about Theta. I will have to educate myself some more on how theta functions. Um, and uh, the only like some of the cursory stuff I know about theta is that it's a software that is going to be running on a lot of TVs, like smart TVs and stuff, have the capability to be integrated with theta, and that I guess those TVs in and of themselves are some way that it runs the network. Um, so if they do have a way that you can store your stuff on nodes in Theta, then it sounds very similar to a form of of what they're doing with IPFS. And I think IPFS is kind of like an indexing method for like indexing the files. I think, and I believe it's partially backed by Filecoin, potentially. But let me look and see if I can find PFS Filecoin. Let's look into that. IPFS and Filecoin. Filecoin and IPFS are complementary protocols for storing and sharing data in a distributed web. Both systems are free, open source, and share many building blocks, including data representation formats and network communication protocols. While interacting with IPFS does not require using Filecoin, all Filecoin nodes are IPFS nodes under the hood, and with some manual configuration can connect to and fetch IPLD formatted data from other IPFS nodes. However, Filecoin nodes don't join or participate in the public IPFS DHT distributed hash tables. This page aims to explain the relationship between IPFS and Filecoin projects and help users decide which approach is best suited for their use case. So, IPFS allows users to store and transfer verifiable content address data in a peer-to-peer network. IPFS users usually persist the data they want on their own IPFS nodes. This is called pinning. Sometimes the data may be pinned using a third-party pinning service or through groups of individual IPFS users like IPFS collaborative clusters. The data exists in the network as long as one user is storing it and can provide it to others when they request it. IPFS alone does not include a built-in mechanism to incentivize the storage of data for other people. This is the challenge Filecoin aims to solve. There you go. There you go. That's why it's tied into IPFS, because now it's providing you some incentive to run some IPFS nodes. So therein is the opportunity, it looks like. Filecoin is built on IPFS to create a distributed storage marketplace for long-term storage. Nodes with a large storage capacity can rent their storage to users and get paid for it. The Filecoin network ensures that data is safely stored. However, the processes of storing, verifying, and unsealing, referred to as sealing, proving, and retrieving, respectively, are computationally expensive and can take time. This is especially relevant for the retrieval of data, which should happen as fast as possible. For this reason, Filecoin enables an additional retrieval market where dedicated nodes can help quickly deliver content from the network for payment by keeping unsealed cached copies. This delivery mechanism may make use of IPFS, but is still in design. See Resonant Labs Decentralized Daily Delivery Market Research for more information on delivery mechanisms. Filecoin aims to add longer-term persistence to safely store large batches of data, while IPFS optimizes for the quick retrieval and distribution of content. Using IPFS and Filecoin, content addressing with IPFS. IPFS is great for getting started using content addressing for all sorts of distributed web applications. In the majority of these cases, data is provided by the user's own nodes, otherwise must rely on other peers to voluntarily altruistically storing data on their centralized pinning service. Centralized IPFS pinning services must be trusted to do their job. IPFS brings no built-in provisions to verify that data is being stored and correctly provided by the pinning service. Popular content is more easily accessible. Popular content with many providers naturally becomes faster and easier to retrieve in IPFS, which is great when there are external incentives to sync and store data in multiple nodes, and for situations where strong social contracts can be used to ensure the content remains hosted and maintained long term. Data persistence with Filecoin. Filecoin builds on the content addressing of IPFS to add longer-term data persistence using crypto-economic incentives with Filecoin. Clients make storage deals with storage providers to store data. The network verifies that the storage providers are correctly storing the data. Small payments are made on a regular basis for the duration of the storage deal. Storage providers that do not honor the storage deal are penalized. Content retrieval might be offered by storage providers directly or by specialized retrieval storage providers. The user requesting the data pays for this service. Filecoin excels at storing large amounts of data for long periods of time. Using IPFS and Filecoin together, many solutions combine the two networks to get the best of both worlds. IPFS for content addressing and data discovery, and Filecoin for longer-term persistence. To achieve this, services like PowerGate back up data on the Filecoin network while also ensuring content is discoverable in the IPFS public DHT. Data is constantly available and can be retrieved quickly while also making sure that it is safely and verifiably backed up on the Filecoin network over time. The technology behind IPFS and Filecoin. Filecoin and IPFS are powered by the same technology at many levels. IPLD specifies data formats for content address data like the blockchain or the way in which IPFS stores files. libp2p provides peer-to-peer network capabilities, connection security, and key discovery and data distribution features like the distributed hash tables and pub/sub. Multi-formats define future-proof identifiers and data types. Graph sync and bit swap enable fast and efficient IPLD data transfers between nodes. Interesting. So Filecoin looks like you run one of these nodes through Filecoin, and you can make some money on storing people's data, helping to store people's data. So let me drop that in for you guys if you want to look into that a little bit more. Probably a pretty good opportunity there if you just need to give up, make an agreement for some storage time or however they work it out, and then you get rewarded in Filecoin. But we're running up on about the last half hour of the podcast tonight. I want to get a little bit back into these Siren servers, and I wanted to share that link with you guys. And drop that in there. But yeah, I want to get that guy's book, or at least see if we can find it on Who Owns the Future, Jaron Lanier. Because I would like to have the book. Who owns Future? Wait, how did you spell that guy's name again? Jaron Lanier. Let's see. Lanier. See if it finds it. Yeah, found it. So here is the link. Oops. For the PDF version. Let's see if I get the right link here. So this article talks about this book, essentially, Who Owns the Future? And that's the key word, is the Siren servers, if you wanted to go and look this up for yourself. And did I post that little thing there? From Gabriel here, here's another book. The Social Wealth of Data PDF. And that one, King's Research Portal. And what's going on? What's going on with this? This new report on social wealth funds is a significant contribution, nothing less than an attempt to build an institution for collective wealth and control over investment. As the report notes, though, one of the key challenges is in finding continual sources of funding that can sustain the fund over time. Here, there appears room to bring together the social wealth fund with another idea that is starting to gain traction, that of being paid for the value of our data. You okay? The later idea responds to the situation of contemporary platform capitalism, where a handful of increasingly powerful and monopolistic platforms are able to extract an immense amount of data and control the wealth generated from it. The biggest companies in the world, measured by market capitalization, are all increasingly platform companies, while their founders often rank among the wealthiest individuals. Yet at the same time, many of the workers for these companies earn a pittance and struggle against miserable working conditions. The median Amazon worker, for instance, earns barely more than a worker at Walmart, while Facebook and Google have outsourced the existentially harrowing work of content moderation to poorly paid workers in the Philippines. All of these companies, in turn, rely to a significant degree upon our data to make their businesses work, yet the sources of that data see no remuneration, even as society mops up and pays for the negative externalities created by these companies. There's a general recognition that ownership over data is one of the key issues in play here, but the type of ownership varies in different accounts. In this short piece, I want to outline two prominent options: personal data markets and a national data fund, and critique the first while suggesting how the second can fit into a social wealth fund. Interesting. So go check out this PDF as well. that Gabriel posted in the Discord chat. Um, it's basically about Jaren's ideas, quotes from his 2013 "Who Owns the Future." Okay, so he's just kind of pulling off of Jaren's ideas. Data is the new oil from Club ADD. Yeah. But yeah, this Jason Lanier guy, is kind of talking about in that work, I guess that just laying out all these huge companies that are just sucking up everybody's data, and that's all they're after. And yeah, so I mean, basically, that's what's going on, and I think the point I was kind of trying to get to is that we were talking about this on Crimson Show, and talking about if you had complete information awareness or total information awareness, that you could plug it into, a computer system that can start looking for patterns, start, recognizing different patterns in people and larger scales and how they interconnect and operate on a daily basis. And you could start making some predictions with that information. And that's, I think, what's part of these siren servers is that he's saying that you might be able to make pretty accurate predictions, I believe. These future siren servers will be able to sell their software for money and take over the market, pushing monetary compensation to an elite few and eliminating the old industries. There was always creative destruction, and new industries have always replaced old ones. But the difference today is that we've decided to allow our inputs to be compensated with candy rather than money, in that these servers are now powerful enough to transform industries from what used to be a bell curve shaped distribution to a winner take all star system. Our decision to give away our data away for candy instead of money companies to companies that push risk away from themselves and have little to no skin in the game is producing massive inequality and unemployment and eliminating the middle class. It paints a bleak picture of our future unless we change. But yeah, it's like that's kind of what these siren servers is about. And here's another article kind of talking about this. CIA siren servers can predict social uprisings 3 to 5 days in advance. The CIA claims to be able to predict social unrest days before it happens thanks to powerful supercomputers dubbed siren servers by the father of virtual reality, Jaron Lanier. CIA Deputy Director for Digital Innovation Andrew Hallman announced that the agency has beefed up its anticipatory intelligence through the use of deep learning and machine learning servers that can process an incredible amount of data. We have in some instances been able to improve our forecasts to the point of being able to anticipate the development of social unrest and social instability. Some, I think, as near as 3 to 5 days out, said Hallman on Tuesday at the Federal Tech Event Festival. This minority type of technology has been viewed skeptically by policymakers as the data crunching hasn't been perfected. And if policymakers were to be enacted based on faulty data, the results could be disastrous. Iraq WMDs question mark. So yeah, that's part of what these siren servers would be utilized for, is like making some predictions and stuff, I guess. Yeah, I don't know too much about the guy, the Jaron Lanier. Jaron works for Microsoft now, by the way. Interesting. Yeah. Microsoft is the virus. It's you know, if you load Linux on your computer, you know, it doesn't have a bunch of crap going on in the background. It's way different than having a Windows computer. Like, you can access things really quickly. And the whole operating system is like, I really hate the Windows operating system, I'll tell you that. But you know, it's the one that most people have, or most people are using. But yeah, it wants to back all the stuff up to the cloud, and you're like, I don't want it to go all to the cloud, and it's like constantly spying on you in the background, and in Windows. But so yeah, what did we cover tonight? We kind of got into the whole idea that of the alien invasion, and that it's probably staged bullshit. So always question, you know, the stuff that's coming out on the mainstream, that it's you know, what's the spin on it? What's the greater thing? And we talked about this white noise movie that was similarly about the event that just happened in Ohio, where they blew up a giant chemical PVC container, shipping container for the train, and vessel, the PVC containing vessel, and just exploding it and causing all kinds of environmental issues. So there's that movie White Noise there. In the entire environmental disaster that happened over there in Ohio. We're wrapping it up on talking about some of this similarity, well, what you could do with IPFS and Filecoin, and what these siren servers are in predicting the future. So covered a lot of ground tonight. Didn't really have a plan coming into the podcast tonight, so I was kind of winging it. So thanks for being along for the ride tonight as we are winging the podcast. But so what's going on, Jack? Government, as always, hard to tell if they are malicious or just that ignorant. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking on this as well. Is like, are they that dumb that they would just blow that up and know, you know, they're like, I'll be all right, you know, shit'll buff out, basically. Why not both? Maybe yeah. Well, it could be both. Just some people doing the wrong thing and didn't really know, you know, or somebody over him was like, just blow the shit up. I don't know. But yeah, don't know the full details of it, but sure looks weird, man. Sure looks weird. So if you don't have a water filter yet, get yourself a good water filter. And then, maybe there's a way for some homesteaders to get together and start making some biochar. Maybe taking a trip to Ohio to see if it can help out their waterways. That would be something interesting to organize. Some actions that we could take as a distributed, decentralized community out here on the distributed, decentralized platforms that we're on right now. So, we'll see if that manifests. So I'm gonna try to make that happen. What else is going on, guys? What else? I was kind of I was looking into the whole issue with Eliza Blue on Twitter as well, and been following that story for a while. Brittany Venti is a YouTube creator that was asking some questions of Eliza Blue on Twitter and posted a screenshot of a publicly available YouTube video that had this Eliza Blue chick in the video, and looks like they took down people's accounts that were reposting that publicly available video. And then Eliza started to, get big mad. She got big mad and never really addressed some of these questions that people had about her past, and looked like was leading to the censorship of her censoring people on Twitter and filing privacy claims against other people's YouTube channels and stuff. And that article, with Shane Cashman going out to ask Eliza all these questions, and then him kind of going after all the people that were looking into the story. Tim Cass taking that article down. So I looked into that recently as well, and it looks like Eliza is like a hardcore grifter. She's had all these different past. So she's had 5 different names, and seems like she was just a high-end escort or something at one point in time. Wasn't so proud of that point in her life, and there's some evidence that some people brought up as well that one of her friends she was trying to get to do prostitution. And so lots of craziness going on there with that story. But the main focus, I would say, and why I'm talking about it, is that it is about censorship, and that that the relationships between Eliza and this person at Twitter, and then getting people's Twitters taken down for doing it. That's what the focus is, and for me is about the censorship aspect. So this has been huge. It really looks like what Eliza's been doing is just like seeming to just play the victim, and you know, we're not real sure about what her real story was because her story's like kind of weird, and it kind of changes a bit, and it's like some rocker was the one that groomed her to some other guy to some what was it like uh she said some kind of like famous singer guy or something like that, but all just wild parts of her story, and these guys have been looking into her stuff for a while, and you know, she was on this like stick what is it called, Stickum site or something like that. It was kind of like before YouTube, and she was making videos on there and stuff. So it seems like she was like super desperately trying to be famous in some form or another, and then like she went into this whole thing about being sex trafficked, and because you're sharing non-consensual photos of her uh, from a time period in which she is not so proud of now, I guess, is what the deal is. That gets getting everybody censored. So, free Brittany Venti on Twitter because she needs to get out of Twitter prison. And Camelot 331, I think he's another guy there on Twitter that got banned. There was Yellow Flash, but I think he may have been able to come back. I think I've seen one maybe of his profiles or something like that. And this guy Defango got his one of his Twitters taken down. So it is like a Hydra. It's like you try to chop off one person's head and you get a dozen more. But yeah, crazy stuff with all that going on. It's just more censorship. Seems like Twitter's, you know, not much has changed that Elon took over Twitter. You know, still exploits in the system that are being taken advantage of. Oh, saw Normox saying, let's see. Let me start with Jack's one comment up here. I just got done watching a same frame video from San Fran video from 1950s or something. Road management dynamited a beached whale, blubber covered the town, a chunk crushed a car. Wow. Grifter attention, horror. Eliza, it seems Timmy took down his gushing Eliza article too. Yep. Normock, I saw a video of Blue saying it was okay to have sex with children if it's consensual. Kind of wrecks her BS. Yeah, she talked about her utopia, her ANCAP utopia, and you know, that's not so ANCAPish in my opinion. She a hoe. Timmy had to go to members only chat so much she seems like she trafficked herself. Yeah, I think some people are talking about it's like she's kind of convinced herself of this story or whatever to like maybe a lot of people think that she is kind of got something weird going on with her head, you know, like, you know, probably was traumatized about something in when she was younger, but you know, kind of making up a story and making everybody believe her on it. So Yeah, the photo from the music video. I know I know that video is like on BitChute. It's like I remember seeing somebody posting it in one of the things that on Eliza's posts. Uh, she would consider you posting that photo trafficking her. Yeah. Look at the image. She cries about objectifying women. Yeah, you know. Attention seeking under counsel's names. She's nearing the end of her run, it seems. Yeah. Good riddance, Normock. Publicly published, and she was paid for that video. Yeah. Yeah. Watching the quartering on it. See, Normock, it's like all these women who had sex with Harvey Weinstein and called it rape. It's absolutely disgusting. These women has destroyed the word rape. Gabriel. Well, it generally had to or never account in Hollywood again. The casting couch's initiation, humiliation ritual for wannabe stars and starlets. It sure seems that way in Hollywood. It's just one big occult ritual out there. See. Just like how vaccine mandates still gave a choice. Yeah. Yeah. Weinstein did rape some women, though, with her rotten penis injecting Viagra into his cock. Oh, God. Bye, Crimson Clad. We'll see you later. Peace out. You guys scared away Crimson Clad. Thanks a lot. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Harvey Weinstein sounds like a piece of shit, and yeah, he sucks. But yeah, it's so crazy, man. That whole thing that's going on with the Eliza Blue situation. It's all causing all kinds of issues with folks out there. We'll see here. Oh, what else is going on that we can chat about for a little bit before we end the show tonight? I've been really getting into a cool series or a guy's YouTube channel called The Crypto Alchemist. If you guys have ever heard of him, they've been talking a lot about this Randall Carlson, I guess, is trying to bring out a show to Netflix, and there's kind of gatekeeping him on it or something that's happening. Like the show's not something that's happening with his show. So these guys are talking about that recently, which I thought was pretty interesting. Let's see. Crypto Alchemist. And he's done some pretty cool interviews too with like with different folks that have some kind of interesting stories. Like Dutch Sense, he interviewed him recently as a guy that kind of like tracks earthquakes and stuff, and kind of has like a pretty cool system to helps him predict and see where earthquakes are going to happen. But let me see if we pull this up. Crypto Alchemist 369 is his YouTube channel. And there's that. There's his channel. Yeah, Weinstein is a piece of shit. From Normock. Yeah. But yeah, these guys are getting into some really cool discussions about sound, like cymatics, ancient structures. How there's like a possibility that a lot of where we live on right now is like many like other buried cities and stuff from like other cataclysms, and we're just like continuously just keep building on top of all this rubble from cataclysms. So they were talking about like one part where it's in Futurama where you're just like going down into more and more cities as you go further down. And so they were talking about some of that kind of stuff on one of their recent live broadcasts. I think it was this one right here, this newest episode right here, where they were talking about some of this stuff. But he's got a cool channel, so go check him out, Crypto Alchemist, and check out this video that they put out. So I think I was listening to this at work today, and it was keeping me pretty educating me on some stuff and entertaining as well. So, lots of cool stuff that people are doing. I did see recently that somebody took a video over the Eye of Mauritania and took some drone footage over that, where it was suspected that that could be one of the places that was described as Atlantis. Let's see, drone footage, Eye of Mauritania. Yeah, right here. The Eye of the Sahara. I think it's like maybe one of these videos. What does it say? First drone footage. Yeah, here it is, of the reshot structure is what it's called. So
hello and welcome to my channel. I'm an independent researcher and documentarian who brings you around the world to archaeological sites of interest. Subscribe now to always get the latest. Let's go. I'm coming to you today with a very special announcement. I've returned to the reshot structure to study it further. The first time I visited the reshot structure, I was a bit overwhelmed, in part because of the vastness of the site. It's impossible to capture the vastness with a land camera, and so one of the things I was eager to return with was a drone so that I could capture that vastness and show it to all of you. If you're like me and you're searching for Atlantis, when you get to the reshot structure, you might have a moment where you think to yourself, what do I do now? This is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Honestly, it can be a little discouraging or disheartening, and for me it was, until I realized the beauty in simply documenting the haystack. The reshot structure is so vast and beautiful, and yet even on the ground you can't really see it without a drone. So I was so excited to come back with a drone and just document it for you all. Of course, if I was going to come back, it's a priceless opportunity to conduct other research, and I reached out to Jimmy from Bright Insight, and he requested that I try to find some salt. So I found some salt and tried to find some marine organisms, and along the way found something that I absolutely was not expecting to find. I found one of the most incredible archaeological sites that I've ever seen in my entire life, something that I don't think anybody knows about or has documented. I only discovered this site after befriending a desert nomad, and I'm not ready.
So, yeah, check out that guy's channels because he's out at the reshot structure and he looks like he's taking some aerial photography. So India Archaeology on YouTube. Look into it, man. There's lots of videos talking about how the Eye of the Sahara or the Reshot structure, is a possible could have been the place where the mythical city of Atlantis was. So, pretty interesting. But thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me for the show. We'll catch you guys next week, and hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your week, and go out there and crush it. So, thanks again, guys. We'll catch you next week for another podcast. Peace.